Lights on there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We look to get a motion to approve the agenda.
Any corrections or amendments to it? Nope. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve the minutes from March 29th.
I read through them and they looked good.
You get your change made?
Yeah, oh, that's right, yeah, that,
Yeah, it's me.
I thought I saw it in here. So I'll make the motion.
Second. Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Alrighty. General public concerns? Nobody on Zoom? Nobody in the hallway, was there, Ben?
Ben brought in his...
Oh, wow.
Brought in the map? Yeah. Alrighty, Don, we'll get you up and going.
Okay. First off, thank you for accommodating me this morning.
Got more copies around.
I've got enough for each board member, and then an extra for all of the columns.
Thank you.
We aren't gonna have leaves this year, are we?
Oh, this is all right.
This is brush.
Oh, brush, all right.
And actually, you don't have a lot of brush left in the dishes. We've been doing this program long enough. It's a 3-year rotation. This year, we're up in the northeast corner. It'd be Highway 169 and Highway 3 is a cutoff. So it'll be all the dishes up in the northeast corner of the county. And I was out last week and looked at the dishes in inspection. We did have one dish that they did, looked like they dipped one side of it, but they weren't touching, they didn't touch the whole ditch. So I went ahead and added, left it on the schedule for rotation. And basically, this is just a continuation of the rotation that we've been doing. I hate to say how many years we've been doing that, but they had a date for that. I'll go back through here. The total quote for this year was $38,500 for all of the ditches. Each ditch is priced out individually because each ditch is built out to the landowners that benefit from the drainage. So each one has to be filled out and quoted separately. I'll go through the last 3 years, the quote as opposed to the actual. Last year, the quote was $42,000 for all the ditches in the northwest corner, and the actual amount billed was $28,895.58. 2019, the quote was $36,000, and the actual one the ditches were done was $18,033.21. And 2018, the quote was $31,750, and the actual was $24,066.64. And basically, we're starting, we actually got started this morning. We tried to start last week, as I was saying earlier, but with the wind, we just moved to the last week getting it done. So we're starting this morning on some ditches, and if you approve this, we could get these done within the next 2-3 weeks. So.
Okay.
Well, make a motion to approve the quote for the said third of the drainage districts that just presented by Don.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Don, for all the work you do for the county.
Yep, thanks, Don.
We're gonna close down, we like to keep the close counties extra happy.
Yeah, that's a really good presentation when you say that the quote, the bills have been less than the quotes for the last 3 years. They're great. Keep doing
And that's
that.
a sign that you're doing a good job because you're keeping them under control, they're not getting away from you.
Now, they did mention that ditch on the river again, but I think we decided that needs to be cut pretty much that.
Yeah, will that even include this?
No, that's not
No.
included.
Meter 20?
So
think
then, I know, they were asking if we, or your new drainage clerk was asking if we get brush to remove them, but we don't.
No, you
Those
don't.
big enough trees, you need somebody with some big equipment. And that's.
Is that the one out where the beaver dam was? That's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
That's gonna be...
Railroad right away and...
Oh, that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever tell anybody what the railroad's like to deal with.
I don't think you have to tell them.
No, I don't, so that's not, no, I don't think there's much you can help us with there.
Yeah, so,
But if there is, we'll let you know.
all right, thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck with Hamilton County, Don.
And as always, when we get started, I'll let the auditors off snow, and then I'll call the sheriff, and then I'm sure they'll send you all an email, and when the guys are gonna be out there.
We appreciate that very much.
Thank you,
Don.
Okay, you done? Sure. Okay. Ben, do you wanna come up a little early?
Sure.
No, he'd rather wait a half an hour.
The main item that I've got on the agenda is to approve an application to work in the county right away. This is it's for CenturyLink, it's listed as Lumen on here, so I'm not sure if they got bought out again. But this is over on States Avenue where we put that new box culvert in, just south of Highway 3.
Yeah, I noticed that just hangs in the air there.
Yeah, the contractor, hooked the fiber optic line when he was putting in the curtain wall,
Oh.
and they just stubbed two temporaries, or a temporary line with two pigtails on either end, and basically just forgot about it, they didn't come back to do it. And Dave reached out to him about a month or so ago, asking him if they were waiting for the farmer to hook onto that line, his equipment, or if they were actually planning on coming back. So, the proposal is to put two vaults in, just inside the right of way, and basically more in between the two locations. I did talk to them and have them change their depth through the stream bed from 5 feet to 10 feet, just in case they were in the vicinity of that curtain wall, they would get it at 5.
Yeah.
But at 10, we should be clear.
So the contractor didn't get in any trouble when he hooked their line?
No, he didn't, because, whoever the supplier was that he talked to said, go ahead and cut it.
Oh,
But
okay.
the people that showed up to fix it obviously weren't very happy.
But, okay.
Well, I'd make a motion to accept the, work in the right-of-way permit for Lumen or CenturyLink, out on state.
Okay, we have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Other than that, spoke with Royal Friday, they're planning on crossing White Avenue today for the drainage district project with Dave Huntermark. We're gonna supply a little bit of rock after lunch for them, so they can dress the top. We're hauling rock, cutting shoulders. Plan is Tuesday, so tomorrow our plan is to close the south end of, Gosh Park, that's Scott Becker's house, and do that narrow 5-foot patch with county forces. So, we're gonna pour it out, frame it up, and pour concrete in the hole. We're gonna use them next so that we can open it Wednesday morning. That's our intention.
Did I meet, our company that's coming in to mill? Did they come this way?
They came by,
I seen a whole
Wednesday,
line of their
I think it was.
trucks coming this way, and I wondered if they were coming...
They had to do some, test strips of the millings so that they can certify the asphalt to reincorporate.
Reuse the millings.
Yeah. They had to get certified with the DOT, so they were here for that, and DOT was here monitoring. Dave was out following them on Wednesday. Their intention, at least preliminarily, is to start milling at the end of this month. So, their plan is for it to be the first job of the year.
You know, that goes on the time.
Yeah, we got snow in May before.
Yeah, multiple times.
We don't need that again.
No.
We also learned how to change the sign on that
Yeah.
sign you had out there.
Yeah.
How many times it had to be changed?
That was That was the C-49 project.
Yeah.
We kept getting snow.
Getting it pushed back.
And we're taking delivery on that, arch pipe that we approved, for the dry bridge tear out, so.
Okay.
We'll get delivery on that, and then if it works and Tom's schedule, we'll pull that bridge out.
Was that galvanized or aluminum? I'm trying to remember. Aluminum. Shouldn't have any trouble picking that up then. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I think we'll move down to, review the action on continuing of operations to COVID-19. What do we have there, Trish?
Well,
I wonder if we should call on the department heads and see what their opinions are on it.
Or what, probably
We got
have
plenty of
time.
you
I
know,
would.
Yeah. I'll just walk down and grab it till they come down.
I guess the question was for Ben too. You can go ahead and dig at him.
My question on it was, the first one that we passed, the infectious disease action plan, signed last April, was set to sunset the end of December. It wasn't until I talked to Renee the other week, that we realized that we've still been honoring up to 80 hours of COVID leave for our guys, when they test positive. I personally used a week of it when I got it, and I know one other employee, used the full 80 hours when he got it. Like I said, it wasn't until talking to Renee that we found out that it sunset. But Renee said some people have extended it, some counties have extended it.
I think we extended something.
Well, we must have
But I don't-
extended it, then, if you just used it.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the question got brought up, is we used it.
Okay. I know we spoke, that's when we kind of opened the doors to people.
I think it was still,
And,
I don't know, I don't think we had a definition.
Right.
I could have swore we extended it, but that's...
It's not 100%, but I would probably agree with you. I don't think we canceled it. I think we just kept kicking it down the road.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
and that was been in
What do you think, Dave?
January, I think we did that.
I think it was extended.
I don't think we ever said formally we're done with the
Right.
protocol.
Right.
I think Renee had said that, some counties had extended it like through June. By that time, they figured majority of people that want the vaccine would have the opportunity.
Right. That's what they're saying. They're actually saying even possibly even May, but there's so many that are not doing the vaccine. I get my second today, hopefully I won't get sick with the kids.
Well, yeah.
Brought a jacket with me, they were gonna be here.
What?
God, it feels so good. I'm dying.
It's cold over there.
Now it's really... Usually got the window open.
Yeah.
Feels like a split day.
Yeah.
And the fan.
It's coming down, Diane, isn't it?
You know what, I roasted my room.
Good morning.
Sandy?
Good to see you too, Jim.
Okay.
I'm back.
Well, this discussion is whether we should continue our COVID-19 policy that we have, tweak any changes, add anything, remove anything. What's the board's thoughts, or people who work in here, what's your thoughts, because you're the ones who are working with it?
We're pretty much back to normal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say we are.
You don't have people wearing masks coming into the office,
Some do, some don't.
for their preference then,
Yeah.
not yours.
No,
Okay.
we have to
Yeah.
go out. We ask them, they take them off in their office with the plexiglass, if they want to wear them in the public area, we tell them their preference also, but it's really hard to see up the plexiglass with how we get worse. We're like shouting at each other and
Yeah,
talking over top of each other, and really, and then you have the mask, and
yeah.
that, so we asked them to remove them, and they have to take them off for driver's license pictures anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it at each office.
And like we were talking, it was the issue, like if we're going to issue COVID sick, if somebody happens to want to utilize that, if they become sick with COVID.
That's our main question.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, right. Does
we
that
still got
continue?
probably 10 guys that haven't had it.
So that it could happen still.
That still could happen, you know.
I agree, I think we should keep the COVID pay up through at least June. I really do, because they are saying that everybody should be able to get vaccinated by June. I still feel that we should, I know you can't require masks, but I still think we should ask that masks be, you know...
Considered.
Thank you. Brain isn't working at this. I really do recommend, yeah, I really do. They're saying...
I'll go to July 1st.
For July 1st?
Yeah.
Let's give it another... Yeah, 'cause it takes, what do they say, 3 weeks after you're fully vaccinated to be fully immune, or your antibodies built up.
The policy we had before, it was just a once-a-year deal, is that still in effect then, the COVID pay? Is that what we understood it?
Yeah, that
Once
was...
an anniversary, or how do you say that?
I understood it, it's just a one-time deal.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, one
if you
time.
get, once COVID...
I mean, 'cause I suppose you could get it a second time, you know.
I don't know, that's what I'm asking, so just a one-time deal.
Yeah.
They're saying you can get it 90 days later. That was always, you know, that, you know, you have, most people's antibodies are good through 90 days after you had COVID, but some people's will last longer, but I would say one time would be sufficient.
Okay, so what we're looking at is an extension.
Basically, the end of the fiscal year.
Basically.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's a good,
Yeah.
good time frame, I
Right, we
guess.
put it, yep.
I wouldn't expect too much between now and then, but it does extend it out.
Mhm.
And they, Sandy mentioned it does allow a little more time for things. That should pretty well cover it. And it is a one-time deal. You're probably one of the last ones that took any advantage of that.
Yeah, like I said, I used 40 hours when I got it, and I had an employee that got it.
More recently?
I think it was a week later.
Oh, really?
And,
Okay.
and he used the full 80. I mean, it affects everybody.
It does.
It does.
It tends to still kind of be dwindling away, but it's
Still out there.
Well, I'll make that motion to extend it through July
End of the
1st.
fiscal year.
Yeah, end of the fiscal year, that's a better way to put it, there you go. And that we would like to recommend masks.
I mean,
And we're still keeping the separate bathrooms then, or?
See, we did mask, we took it away last time.
Took it away?
The mask mandate.
Well, yeah, there is no mask mandate.
Right, there's no, I'm just saying recommend it. I still think we should recommend.
what was the
No,
last
that's recommended.
discussion and kind of date
Does
about
that mean posted?
per office?
I would think so. I mean, if we're gonna ask people, if, you know, just like at a store, some stores.
Because it's
you know,
currently not
ask it,
posted
some
on the
people-
door.
No,
we took it
I don't.
On the door.
Oh.
It is?
Is it recommended yet?
That's 11/23, you're recommended.
I thought,
Okay.
we can update the sign, just, you know,
Yeah, I think that should be updated.
you know, we can say that, you know, that we're just recommending that masks are worn.
I mean, yeah, I think kind of where it's at, people are using their own discretion, and the offices are using theirs, so. I don't think we wanna make it more stringent. We
Right.
can still,
No.
we can still make the strong suggestion, but.
Right.
Individual offices make their own decision and leave it on the door as it's still recommended.
Okay. Is
Have
that,
a motion?
is that from Dave's form of motion there?
Yep.
I'd entertain a second. Second from Sandy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're good now, until the end of the fiscal year. And now we're about up, well, I think Ann could take a phone, she sent a note that she is not coming over. She's gonna do it by a conference call, so I don't know if I have to wait till 9:10 to get a hold of her, or or,
Try to call her now.
Why don't we do our committee reports?
Do a committee reports? All
Should I
right.
go, ask them if they can call her and see if she can go early?
See if she can get on Zoom.
Yep, you're
Oh,
welcome.
yeah. I mean, that would make more sense.
Do what?
Have her call in by Zoom.
Yeah, she could do that too.
Was it Chris brought that in? Or Kim?
Kim,
Should I ask her?
you want?
I will.
Well, no, I'll go do it.
I'm the first to do the report, but I don't have anything to report, so I don't have any
Don't.
committee meetings. I'm done.
Wow, I didn't have anything last week either. I thought I did, but I didn't. I know, can you believe it? That's the first, I know, that's a first in a really long time.
You forget to write them down?
I'm actually racking my brain trying to think.
Well, we have to...
The only thing I had was a VA meeting Wednesday.
But she just logged in.
Moved all the roads, picked up a new one.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
On, Tuesday, the 30th of last week, we had a 911 service board meeting that evening down in Magistrates Room. That was the only official meeting I had last week.
We had no meetings last week.
Relatively.
Okay.
Now, last week I announced that we have the dispatchers. This week it is on the
Yeah,
date,
this
right?
week, negotiations with the dispatchers at Thursday.
Thursday at 12:30 is what I wrote down.
Oh, okay. The 8th at 12:30,
Yep.
okay.
Nell's all gonna be here again.
Yeah.
Actually, Bruce, when you sent that out, I looked, it was correct. I had it wrote down for the 8th.
I had it wrote down for the 8th too, but when I told that to Rick said,
Hey, he
well,
reminded me, hey, we got that
Well, that was
dispatcher
a week
meeting on
early.
Thursday, and I thought, yeah, I remember something about it Thursday, and I looked at my book later on.
I was just a week early on my reminder, but I...
Be careful when you remind Rick of meetings. That's
right.
Right time.
Well,
What time, 8:30?
12:30.
12:30.
I think I sent you an email. I was like, oops.
He did, yeah. Okay.
so she...
So, we could go down and discuss private tile crossing, but I did tell that, poor Bruce would probably be after 9. I don't know if he's gonna show up or not.
Who is that, Rick?
Bruce Hefty.
Oh.
It's his private tile crossing, so I should give him the opportunity.
Yeah, we
to show
better
up
make sure that it's...
closer to the time anyway.
Anything from,
Any other business that we need to discuss?
He's on there.
So we had, back to the rock you're gonna haul out there, have they started out there on that tile project?
Yeah.
Out by Hunter Mark?
Yeah, they're getting close to the road right now, so they're almost complete. If I remember right from that tile project, they're just going across the road and stopping in Hunter Mark's property.
Yeah, I do believe.
And then Deacon Patter tile his field and outlet it to the end of it, basically.
Yeah.
Is the way I understood it.
Which is not that big, but I haven't been out by there for a while, so...
I talked to the engineer from Bolton, Maine class Friday, I think it was, so he just said that he's planning on being out there. Is there any concerns from us? I said just make sure that they backfill the road properly, 8-inch lifts and have a compactor out there, because a lot of times
Yeah, they just fill it in.
ditch guys don't, when they're installing the tile lines, they don't have a compactor.
The classification group has met on that.
Yeah,
And
they
then
were here on Friday, Thursday? Thursday.
Thursday or Friday,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're here.
And they're planning to meet again today, this afternoon.
Okay. So they're getting that on.
We talking about it?
Yep.
Mhm.
I expect it won't take long for them, honestly.
Yeah, it's not a lot of acres.
Mm-mm. And they know what they're doing.
I had one thing that I think of every time I drive by it. Our dear friend Randy Bundy, who lives on Highway 169. Mainly, that is obviously a state highway, but the right-of-way isn't our concern.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe someone could call to the DOT's attention that he basically conducts all of his business in their right-of-way.
Yeah.
Just as a starting point, I know we've had discussion on this before, but you look at it and you think, that's a fairly simple thing. You know, if we were out in county jurisdiction right-of-ways, and we had someone conducting their business in the right-of-way, we would probably say something to them, you know, and we'd address it. Well, that's the state's jurisdiction, so I don't know exactly whose area that is geographically.
I'm guessing it would probably pertain to Algona, 'cause don't they service
They do.
169 down to the Four Corners?
Yep.
So I'm guessing it would be the,
Your supervisor district geographically,
I imagine, to the Bradgate corner it is.
you know? And I was thinking more go the DOT route, because it's really quite a right-of-way concern. I mean, we have, Ben brings up things, you know, we don't like farmers rearranging the contour of ditches and right-of-ways, you know, without permission and doing it correctly. Well, he's doing the same thing. You drive by there, you know, everything he does is in the state's right-of-way. So, I mean, that's a place to start. Obviously, it is an unmitigated mess.
Still required to turn in a receipt.
Who knows?
Still.
We'll ask the county attorney. But as we can all see,
That's what he was doing
a year or so ago. I mean, you don't need to be much other than
That's what we were told.
mildly observant to see that the situation is not getting any better.
Well, and you see him pulling the trailer around at night, picking up steel, so he's still
Yeah.
picking scrap up.
So, to put it as far as a nuisance, the right of way,
It's on.
maybe you could touch base with the DOT folks.
I can call him, I'll see if I can find a person to, in Algona office.
Because, I mean, just to go that angle, I've been thinking of it when you go by there, because that's where he's doing all his work, and we certainly wouldn't be agreeable to someone conducting their business in county right of way, so, right to the state. Just a thought to maybe see what they can have to say to Mr. Lundy.
Yeah. It don't hurt to give them a call,
No.
so like you say, there's a whole lot we can do about
But I
it.
mean, at least as far as the right of way, and bring it to their attention.
Yep.
So that was my only thing, that maybe a positive.
Okay, I'll try to get a number with Ben and go that route.
Okay. All right, Ann is on Zoom, Ann Thompson from, Pocahontas County Health Department.
Appreciate her coming early.
Can you hear us, Ann?
I can hear you, can you hear me?
Yep, very well.
Good morning.
Morning.
Speaker up there working?
Last week?
Nice.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay, we're here to discuss, the 2080 agreement for hiring a sheriff position of sanitarian between Pocahontas and Humboldt County.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
I revised the agreement, the previous agreement that, from 2014, the changes that my board and you guys had discussed. The major changes was number 6, where we talked about the mileage. Instead of putting an amount in there, they wanted me to revise that and just say the mileage shall be charged at the annual rate approved by the Pocahontas County Board of Supervisors. And then the only other change would be under number 13, where everyone had expressed that the agreement, that you guys wanted an agreement for 1 year. And I did have our county attorney review the agreement last week as well, and then my board approved it on Wednesday and asked me to send it on to you guys.
Do you have a copy of that? I didn't see a copy of mine.
I don't either.
No. Did you email a copy of that, Ann?
Yep, I attached it on the email like a Thursday, at 11:03 a.m.
We'll check on that.
Yeah. Our auditor's gonna go check that email and see if we can get a copy of that, because we don't have it in front of us.
Okay.
Have they come any closer? Have you got anybody that you're interviewing, or where are you at with the employee?
Yes, so I, did conduct 4 interviews and offered the position, and he is starting tomorrow, actually, at 8 a.m. And his name is Nate Bento.
Nate what?
He has a bachelor's degree in environmental science from University. And, he is actually he lives in Humboldt.
What's his last name again?
Bento, V-E-N-T-O. He's originally, I think, from Logan,
Nate.
Iowa.
I think she said Nate.
Yeah.
Yep. You said he's from Humboldt?
Yes,
He currently lives in Humboldt.
Currently lives in Humboldt. Are you gonna require him to live in Pocahontas?
we do not have that policy.
Okay, I didn't know if you did or not. Okay.
No.
So did you just get out of school? Is that why he was available so quickly?
He graduated a year ago and has been working in the construction field
Okay.
for Sandy Construction. He did an internship with the DNR while he was in school.
Okay.
We're talking with Pocahontas right now about this 2080 agreement.
Do we have 2080?
Yeah. Well, we had one.
This is an updated one.
So there's one in place right now, or it canceled?
I think it's in place, but they didn't have an employee, so I don't know if it went with them.
Okay.
We've still been providing services in Humboldt County based on the 2014-2080 agreement.
Yeah, so if you wanted to get rid of that, you would need, I don't know what it says about terminating, but you need to formally terminate
The old one.
the old one. I assume the new one probably does that too, but, I don't know what you guys plan to do. If you don't want to deal with the new one, you need to terminate the old one and move on. If you want to deal with the new one, you need to make sure the new one automatically terminates the old one.
Did you hear that, Ann?
A little bit.
Can you say it again, speak up?
Yeah, if the new 2080 agreement doesn't terminate the old one, you need to terminate the old one. If, I don't know what you're planning to do with the new 2080 agreement, but if Humboldt County does not want to deal with that, we would need to terminate the old 2080 agreement, whatever way the old 2080 agreement says we're supposed to work.
Correct. Yeah, it says either participating county may elect to withdraw from the agreement, but shall provide written notice of intent for 30 days prior to the requested termination date. Days prior to the end of the budgetary year.
Trish, I got a question. Did that property owner that needs the one taken care of, did we get that one taken care of?
I haven't heard back from them.
I haven't.
No, I gave them the information for when they were needing it.
Okay, so this is the new one, right?
Uh-huh.
What is the mileage rate over in Pocahontas?
56 cents, I believe,
56?
56.
Ours are 55.
Yeah, this doesn't terminate the old one, so you need to terminate the old one.
Right, so, but the clause in the old agreement says that either party 30 days prior to the requested termination date and at least 60 days prior to the end of the budgetary year.
Well, should we just update this 2080 to add another clause in there just to terminate the old one?
We're still...
I think that would be a separate,
I think it's simple enough just to terminate the old one. We want to probably decide if we want to drop this one first.
It's not, yeah, but it's not like there's not even angry for me to...
so it'll have to be decided. When you initiate that termination, and that would be a separate document versus the new 28 agreement.
Really, I don't know what everybody thinks of this one.
Did you read this new one?
Yeah, doesn't spell out what we paid.
Oh, the cost, it doesn't?
I don't see it.
Talk about the billing.
Billing itemized hours spent, mileage, and other associated costs.
So what are gonna be the other associated costs then? Do we have a
Well
idea?
testing, well testing and septic tank, testing.
Is there an administrative fee or anything, or?
No, you gotta send in your water samples and stuff, but you gotta pay for that.
Or you
The
talking,
associated costs are the well permits that we bill for, the 125. There's not an administrative fee that is included in that figure that we discussed previously, the $35.28. That's based on salary, insurance, FICA, IFRS, and then the cell phone, for $500 a year.
There's the old one.
Hey, Ann, I don't, Dave brought up a good point. I don't see where you actually have the hourly rate in here anyway, unless I'm blind.
And the previous agreement does not have that as well. Previous to 2080 agreement.
But wouldn't we wanna have something with the hourly rate in it?
We should,
I mean, I would think so.
otherwise it's open-ended.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
And I think we want something with an hourly rate in there, in the agreement.
Okay.
at least give us a parameter as to what
Right.
your guide, or what your, someone requests the service, you gotta at least have the ability to tell them that this is really what you're gonna get charged for them coming over to do something with it.
So we're gonna get charged.
We're gonna
It
get
looks
charged.
like this is what, pretty much 50/50 plus whatever mileage and extra cost, is that?
No, per use basis, per time.
But the max-
An hourly rate.
Max of 20.
Max of 20 hours.
20 hours, yeah. We're only gonna be charged for what hours we actually use.
So mileage will only be charged one time It's annually?
Or just their annual rate.
Okay,
Annual rate.
but it'll, each one.
Yeah, each
Yeah, right. And you're gonna be billing this every month, correct, Ann?
Correct.
So did we decide on a budgeted amount? Because it says it shall not exceed the budgeted amount by Humboldt County.
Probably, if it does, we better know about it, I mean.
Well, our current budget that we just passed doesn't have that amount in it already. Because it was based on last year's of 17,000. Now it's gonna be closer to 35.
Well, it's still on a per time basis though, so we really don't know how many hours
No, you
the
don't.
person will be will spend in a year.
So, I mean, it's one of those deals that you put a number in, you don't really know how many times
No, you don't.
it's been requested.
It's just a guess.
So then is that statement not needed or untrue then?
Which,
On the last one of 6, on the first page. The annual total bill shall not exceed the budgeted.
Well, but it's got that 20 hours though up here. I think that's what that means. Am I reading that wrong? Because up here it says not to exceed 20 hours per week. But is that,
I don't know.
But the old rate was $17 an hour roughly.
20.
$20, but it was 17,000.
Yeah, it was 17,000.
17,000 last year. The new rate, what, 35.28, is that right?
Correct.
How come that's not in here?
They said it wasn't on the last one, but I think it needs to be in here. I feel it does anyway.
Well, then what, I can't remember where we're at with this, what do we need to add or detract? So the rate, you might as well put the mileage in at 56 cents, noted.
Well, they have on here, and whatever the Humboldt, or Pocahontas, what they have deemed for that year.
Okay, fair enough. Then.
But we
need to
could,
add
this is a
the
year, this is
actual-
well, it'll be in between years.
Need to add the actual hourly rate.
Usually it changes every year.
That's what I'm saying, we're in between years, so if you can't really put that in there, because...
we do that every year at the beginning of the first meeting.
Yeah, that's what I
We
mean.
set our number, and they probably set theirs.
Right, but what I mean is, this is gonna go until
Next
next fiscal year, so we're gonna be, in January, then we're gonna be voting on what our,
Right.
and they'll do the same thing, so it could change, so that's, I mean,
That's
I
fine,
understand
then.
why putting that there, whatever they, that makes sense, because it'll be between years.
So essentially, you want the 35, whatever, stated.
28, yep.
If we're changing something, I suppose we could add the clause that if adopted, that it cancels any previous agreements.
I think yeah.
If we're putting, I mean, if we're making amendments. to
That's what
that,
I would do, then we
put
don't
that in
have
there.
to...
What else is there besides adding the mileage, terminating the old agreement? Is there anything else that's missing or needs to be clarified?
That was our last sentence.
Rick, what, and Trish, what Trish brought up, and you mentioned where we said the annual total bill shall not exceed the budgeted amount. Well, like you said, we really don't know, and we know that it could potentially be higher because of what's budgeted, because of the change in the hourly rate.
Yeah.
So how should that be changed in the wording?
Or you just do a budget amendment if it goes forward.
That's what I would
I mean,
think.
Yeah, you're just guessing what you think it's
Yeah.
going to cost.
We don't know how many hours they're gonna
How much
spend.
time do you think the sanitary, especially with Humboldt County, work the last 5 years?
We asked them that, and they said that they weren't tracking it very well, and they said we weren't billed for what?
20 hours a year at most. I mean,
A week.
Well, they do more than that.
Yeah.
a month is what they're
Yeah, this is
planning on it, right? 20 hours a week,
20 hours a week,
so,
if needed, but if we don't need,
So I think, obviously, you know, you think it's pretty close, but I don't think you're gonna know how much time the sanitary spends doing Humboldt County stuff until probably the end of the year.
Right.
Then you'll get a better idea, but,
right,
when you know what the ceiling is as far as building, and you could throw it
The only
from my...
problem with that statement is that, as all this discussion is, and we don't know, you can't get to halfway through the year and run out of money and then say, well, because it reads, the annual total bill shall not exceed that budget.
Well, we'd have to make a budget amendment at that time.
Should we can leave it that way and
That's
make a budget amendment, or we can strike it and it's gonna be, you're gonna pay what you need?
Well, even...
well, that's at 20 hours a week, times 4, times
If you
12
budget
months.
$17,000 for the sanitary, and it's gonna be $40,000, you're gonna need to do a budget amendment.
Right.
Regardless of what's in the agreement.
If you could strike that, that doesn't really make any difference. Is that fair?
Strike out the
Yeah.
last
The
sentence
annual
of the first.
total budget.
Did you hear that, Ann?
So on number 6, you want to strike out the annual total bills shall not exceed that budgeted by Humboldt County Board of Supervisors?
Yeah.
Okay?
Where's that at?
number 6, the very bottom, first page.
Yeah, we can budget an
This
amount,
one
but
right here.
obviously, if the services are more in a given year, they're gonna have to be, that's gonna have to be changed. We can't really hold it to a budget amount for the services. I'm just trying to get the changes done and then
Yep.
we have it
Payment of
done.
services in the old one shall be done on a quarterly basis. Billing shall itemize hours spent. So they should be able to track that real easy.
Right,
Okay.
oh, yeah,
Mileage and other costs.
Did it say billing was done on a quarterly basis?
on the old one,
On the
This
old
one states that billing will be done on a monthly.
monthly, yeah. Which would help us better. But when I talked to Kyle, they said I think it was, when I talked to Kyle and Clarence from Pocahontas, their supervisors over there, they said that they had not done a good job of tracking how many hours, and they weren't, and we supposedly did not get billed for several hours that we probably should have, but that's not our fault.
Well, I can't argue with the monthly billing.
Yeah, and I think a monthly would be better for us even too, that we can track it better,
Well, that's fine.
yeah.
Who's gonna make the needed changes on this agreement then?
well, I'm guessing they will, they're the ones that put it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Ann, did you get that about terminating the old agreement, put that in the new 28E?
Okay, so here, in the month for 6, did you want me to add a line in there for the mileage that states the hourly rate and then strike out then the last sentence?
I think so.
Well, the hourly rate, though, is gonna change possibly in January.
Right, you wanted it stated on...
No, the mileage could change.
I mean, the mileage, I'm sorry, my brain is, the
On the change, yep.
We basically said, leave the set mileage is stated, whatever they come up with, and we know it's 56 cents now.
Right.
But you wanted the hourly rate stated in the agreement.
Correct, the hourly
State
rate
that,
stated.
Strike, can't exceed budget. I mean, we know it can't, but if it does, we have to deal
Yeah.
with it. And that was about it. Oh,
And
make sure you
terminate
terminate the old one.
Terminate the old agreement.
So on number 13, then you want me to add, if agreed upon, or if adopted, it cancels previous previous agreement, and then it says this agreement will expire on June 30th, 2022. You add as is.
Write it up just like the old one is, except add, this agreement expires June 30th of '22. Otherwise, write it just like the old one, either participate in county may elect to withdraw from this agreement. shall provide written
Unfortunately, my board does not want that in the 28 agreement, because they want this, you guys stated that you wanted it for a year and cover
Then we're locked
themselves.
in for a year.
They don't want an opt-out option for less than a year, so that's why they wanted that out of there.
We could,
Removed.
we could currently go, what we're doing now is by paying by the call-in.
That's what we are doing.
Wright County's covering us right now, because they didn't have a person to do it.
Yeah, well, this states too in here,
Well, this states that we do.
it says that
we're locked in
number
for a
4, it
year.
says, this agreement does not preclude either county from hiring additional staff to carry out the direction of their county board of health. I think that would cover the fact that you can have this agreement and still elect to
They don't want us to opt out, they want us to hold it
share with another
for a
county.
year, because they hired their gentleman.
Yeah, we've had BB County helping us since, November.
I think what it says is you share the sanitary with Pocahontas County, but if you need extra people, you can hire extra people. I don't think it would allow you to go to Wright County.
You think this,
To have their sanitary do the work.
well, yeah, this is on a per time basis, does that mean it precludes you from doing the same with another county?
I think what it does is it allows you to get extra help. It doesn't allow you to make the same agreement someplace else for the same thing. I think by signing this agreement, your stuff is, we're gonna share with Pocahontas.
No matter what it costs.
doesn't stop you from doing is if you find out that the sanitarian is working 40 hours a week in Humboldt, then it doesn't stop you from making another agreement with Wright to cover the overage. It doesn't stop you from hiring somebody to cover the overage, but based on what I see in this agreement, the purpose of this agreement is specifically to share a sanitarian with Pocahontas County, not to make an agreement that can be broken by finding someone cheaper.
No, I mean, where does it say that you can't have two of these agreements work? Because we're doing it on a per call needed basis. Why can't you have that with two different?
You use the first 20 hours a week with Pocahontas.
It doesn't state that it has to be 20 hours a week.
No, it
Yes,
is up to.
Up to.
If you really wanna make an agreement with another county and then try to make an agreement that frustrates it, I don't suggest that.
I say if we,
Well, we
You're right.
can't guarantee any amount. There's weeks that go by that there's no hours.
correct,
So,
correct.
that's why I say we're basing this on as needed. It's nice to have the options of two entities when you're asking them an as needed.
I would not advise you to do two 2080 agreements if they post the same thing.
No, that
That will probably end your relationship with the
That would
county.
confuse things.
All right, well,
We either, I think this, what they're looking for is either we agree to work with them for a year.
They're looking for the assurance that we're gonna pay up to half of their cost of this new person hire.
we can't guarantee that, though, it's on an as needed.
Unless you use
can't guarantee
them.
No, there's no guarantee, but they look at the past history of,
Right.
there's gonna be building going on in Humboldt County,
Yeah,
they're
there will
water
be.
testing, so they know it's gonna come.
Right.
Yeah, I see that, but there's no, we didn't agree to a 50-50 split, we still wanted it on a as
Needed basis, yeah.
basis.
Yeah, and by billing, by the hour per month, you're gonna know how many hours you're putting in per week.
Could be close to half, but it may not be.
Right.
So,
But it won't be over half, but it could be under or whatever.
So either way, we're gonna be hooked for a year with them, and after the year, you either opt out, and then you can go
Yeah, so
pursue
March
Wright
15th,
County.
you have to make your decision on that, the way it looked. I read that in there somewhere. I thought it said March, I read that somewhere in here.
It was the last.
Number 9.
Yeah, number 9, March 15th of each year.
Yeah, you go to renew it.
Well, let's just throw out a thought process, and I guess, yeah, that kinda of clarifies my thinking on 2080 agreements, but there's no law that says if you're doing, if the county's doing something on an as-case basis, that you can't have more than one entity to draw from, if you didn't have a 2080. I mean, this is kind of, you say it's kind of locking you into something, so to speak, and you can't ask for, you know, the other...
I suppose you could if all of a sudden we're not getting enough, you know, we have a building boom in Humboldt County and we can't get it done with 20 hours a week, which I find very unusual. You could probably hire an individual to pick up the slack,
Yeah.
you know.
Or, I mean, have two options, so to speak, because as you're requesting the service for whatever, well, they're busy in Pocahontas County, but we'll just use Wright County as an example, they're available. Some of these things are very time sensitive in the construction of systems and such, that we find they do the same thing, it's on an as-needed basis. It just seems nice to have a little more flexibility to help out the people that need these services. I mean, but I also...
That is why my board thought it was important for this position to be full-time, because my agency has received frustrated phone calls since I started here in September. So, I don't think it will be an issue.
I've never heard one here.
I think moving forward, that will be having taxpayers,
That's
having
probably after David
realtors,
quit.
having septic.
I don't know, I'm just trying to give everyone that needs these services in Humboldt County the best options to get them. Right now, they've done part with this kind of person.
And who's gonna be prioritizing workload?
I will be supervising, this person, and between the two of us, it's just, he will go wherever he's needed.
Sorry, Ms.
So if they have something, like they said, septic tanks are, you know, usually time-sensitive things, so you'll prioritize accordingly, correct?
Oh, wasn't it?
Definitely. Like,
Living in
I'm
Humboldt.
trying to think if it was 2 Mondays ago, I got a phone call off this time that somebody was, a well contractor was going to be plugging a well, and I had to drop everything and drive to that location, because he was not a certified well plugger, and I stood there and without a jacket on and watched him do it, so there's things like that, you know, happen, but we're more than willing to do whatever is needed for both counties to make sure that, like I said, the taxpayers, realtors are getting their information. I can't tell you how many times I've dropped everything to go look in the old record for, a map of the septic system in both counties. So we're planning on continuing that service, since I've done that since November. We're just going to continue that commitment to both counties.
So Ann, are you certified in all that, the same things also?
So as far as like that well plugging, BB County instructed him on how much and what material to use to plug that, and then I witnessed it, took photos, and worked with BB County to make sure that everything was up to code on all of that in that situation.
Gotcha.
But this new person will be doing all of the training, just like in other
I don't
counties.
like it, but it's done.
I don't either, but I don't,
For this year, maybe something next year.
well, right now, they don't have anyone hired, so...
Well, they got
Yeah.
somebody.
Oh, was that hired? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, he starts tomorrow.
Oh, they do have someone hired, okay.
Nate, yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch that he was hired, I thought that was their best candidate. Okay, sorry about that. Fan's blowing in my ear.
I was like, wait a minute here, come on. We'll cut you some slack.
I'm not, Dave?
Cool, comfortable.
Yeah.
I am too.
Could open the window.
No.
B-E-N-T-O.
Vento, V-E-N-T-O.
B-E-N-T-O?
Yeah, B-E-N-T-O, make.
Sorry, I have sand in my ears
I just-
evidently.
Stated, I like having options to satisfy the service needs of contractors and people in our county. So hopefully this will work out good, but
We don't have a whole lot of choice. We don't have anybody currently in the position, and I guess, to be honest, if we don't do something for 1 year, and see how it works out, we're gonna be constantly calling
Somebody.
Wright County, and then when we get, if they have something going on over there, and they can't do anything, I guess, to be honest, I don't like the charge, but I guess we're kind of forced to play the hand.
well, I agree with you too on that, Bruce. You gotta have somebody in place that we can call on.
Okay, I make a motion to terminate the July 06 contract. And it says either participant may elect to withdraw from the agreement, but shall provide written notice of intention to at least 30 days prior to the request termination date and at least 60 days prior to the end of the budgetary year. So if we give them notice now at July 1st or June 31st, we are terminated.
Yeah, you're within your 60 days.
I thought we were gonna make the few amendments that we've requested for
We haven't done yet. We've got to terminate this one first.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Okay.
I just thought we already, we're gonna write that in, that the other one was.
All right, I gotta,
You can put that in, the new one, but there's nothing wrong with covering all your bases on it.
Okay.
This is a two-sentence note to Pocahontas County saying,
you're terminated.
we terminate this effective June 30th, 2021.
All right, so I got a motion on the floor to terminate the 2080 agreement from 2006 Pocahontas to end June 30th of 2021.
The last one that was filed in Pocahontas County was 2014.
Excuse me, this is 2014, it was revised.
This agreement I have is 06.
Yeah,
I think they revised
It
it.
reads the same.
yeah. The revised version in 2014. Okay, that's the motion on the floor.
I'll second.
With a second from Sandy. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries to terminate the existing 2080 agreement with Pocahontas County. Now, from what I understand, Ann, you have to make a couple revisions to this new one and come back to us again? Is that
Yes, I
correct?
can do that, and
That-
plan for next Monday.
Is that good with the rest of the board?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, you got,
Give a day.
okay.
Motion to postpone this till next week.
Second.
All in favor, to table this? Okay.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are done with that for the day. All right, well, it is 9:30. I imagine we should go into drainage. Probably not, because this is a private individual, so it doesn't have to really do with drainage.
You might wanna yell it, so get
John,
it in.
You should have...
John?
You can do it.
Here's a question on Bundy out there.
All right.
Well, we just get that contacted relationship.
No, but Kim, I didn't think this was gonna last this long.
I got some extra in here.
I'm giving you a bad time.
If, you know, start there anyway.
I didn't have my water yet, if you want some, Ray.
I have a full water jug and a coffee jug out there, but I figured the audience tonight.
Yeah, you got time.
You know, goes everything in there right away, the state's right away.
The way I see it with this is, I need the sanitarian help to take action.
Well, we're gaining on that.
Yeah,
So,
so,
anyways.
because when I looked at it,
You know,
it,
when she made the
I don't
statement, I
know how
dropped
big the right
everything and
of way is,
ran.
but-
You know what, that
when I
that makes
looked
you
at it,
jump.
that picture statement, he wasn't out in the right of way.
When she made the statement, she had dropped everything and go do it in one night.
Which I think it is.
That's your
I don't
job.
have the power to do it.
Right.
Well, right now, this is just a more,
It's not-
And the DOT, because I mean, if we had people doing their business in the county right away, we'd be having a discussion.
and I wondered if he died over You're a rock star. I don't move from.
Oh, I can
But I mean, it's just, so just to start there, and see if the DOT can get back and then, you know, didn't want to go down, all that, health department, sanitary, and drag you into it, all that stuff. Just, I don't like getting involved, that's just, but we get to that point, which Dave, and I think he else, I
ran into him on Saturday.
County, and then we go that route.
He was at Amp Friday, I was coming out, he said, well, I think I should come to the meeting. I said,
But I think
"Come
DOT
to-
can maybe have.
Bruce, if you want to, you're welcome to." And he goes, well, I just don't think it's gonna make any difference, and he says, all I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna bring the pipe on one side to where I want it, and I'm gonna, Mansky's doing the work. So he says, and then we'll hook up on the other side, and we'll wait for you guys to run, and I want a 12-inch tile underneath. And he says, well, I guess your wish list is your wish list. But I says, I can't guarantee that we're gonna put a 12-inch tile when there's three, because I've read your email that said there's 3 6-inches under it already. I said, I can't guarantee that we're gonna put a 12-inch when there's 3 6-inches already crossing the road. Well, that isn't big enough to cover this. Not gonna argue about it here, so.
Maybe he should've got an engineer.
Thought that was.
Oh, that was the sheet, wasn't it? That's what he's trying to wait. I know, but he wants me to prove it.
That's about it, right now.
I think it is, I mean, you're right, west, the white.
What, you want your glasses, so you don't squint so hard?
Yeah, that's itty bitty, isn't it?
It is, I got it.
I had to redo
Yeah, thanks for clarification.
Yeah, we've got two discussions.
It's the two that he owns, he owns on both, one on each side.
The last several years. So I think you'll find that we're gonna go in this about 10 hours a week.
Section,
At most.
Probably average.
But you know,
Roughly the half an hour.
maybe last year and divided it out, it up to about 10 hours a week.
He doesn't, I don't think that he knows where,
But they keep saying.
he doesn't know where he wants it, yeah.
We'll know, and so,
section, we're in section 31.
I don't think we've had the best luck
This
this
is section 31 right now.
No,
So,
What?
that's a good statement.
You got a 6-inch tile
it's hard to know what you're doing.
There's 6 here, this is all south of the half-mile line.
Here's the middle, here's the
Looks like he's
every night,
just
if they
north.
keep track of their time.
A little more oversight.
Yeah, 'cause even a year, hopefully there'll be a lot of building, I mean, real estate, I think.
North of the half-mile line, there is about
It'd
an
be nice
8-inch
to see.
tile, just south of the
Or even 2 years, but down here, how much we really use it.
It doesn't look like there's...
That's okay, just leave that down there, that way I know where it is.
North, but my guess is, I mean, without knowing his exact location, I can't tell you what we got now. My guess is,
Efficiency.
this line right here,
Line is
probably
board.
right where the 6-inch line
To
is
determine
at,
the position
relatively
of
close
the
to
ordinance seven.
for the south.
Well, this is my question, is this the water district line?
606
Yeah,
is
so
the location.
everything on this side is DD7, everything on this side is unincorporated.
So, that's my question, is this, on this side of the highway, is what he's basically wanting to drain?
That's all he can drain.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you're gonna put a 12-inch tile in for this little piece, or this, you're oversized, so what do you actually think he's gonna do?
Well, an engineer's report would tell him that a 6-inch would probably qualify as large enough.
But you're gonna start pulling water from here when you have a 12-inch that,
If you have a 12-inch, you can potentially pattern tile your field and try and pull some of that ground out of.
so someone else is gonna pay for it.
And then,
But which way is he draining it? Is he draining into the district, or is he draining out of the district?
and then he's probably gonna have
Well, if he's
to
going,
reclassification to pull his acres out.
if he's going west, he don't have really any room outside the drainage, he's gonna have to be annexed in, if he's pulling out of the drainage area.
Well, Dave, he's going into private land, there's no drainage district where he's going into.
Right. But he don't have how many acres, 20, 30 acres is all he's
Oh, he
gonna
said
be
that, when I
pulling?
made that comment to him Saturday, he said, no, there's a lot more than that, it's probably more closer to 80.
Well, the rest of it is all in, drainage district, so he can't pull out of the drainage district.
All right, well, anyway, this is basically just discussion on, a request to cross a blacktop with a private tile,
We haven't gotten a request.
which we haven't had a request because according to the Iowa code, which one was it? Crossing a highway,
What happened to be,
468-622.
I have that right here.
Says when the course of natural drainage of any land runs to the public highway, the owner of such land shall have the right to enter upon such highway for the purpose of connecting, what's that? Yeah. Okay. Purpose of connecting, okay. Have the right to enter upon such highway for the purpose of connecting a former's drain or ditch, which will, any drain be constructed along across said highway, but in making such a connection, the owner shall do so in accordance with the specifications furnished by the highway or secondary roads, which this is what he's crossing, he's not crossing a state highway, authorities having jurisdiction thereof, which specification shall be furnished to the owner on an application. The owner shall leave the highway in good condition in every way as it was before, and said work was done. If a tile line or drainage ditch must be projected across the right-of-way to a suitable outlet, the expense of both material and labor used in installing the tile or line or drainage ditch across the highway and any subsequent repair thereof shall be paid from funds available to the highways affected, which would be secondary roads. Okay. So, in the course of natural drainage.
That would be your number one thing.
That's the first thing, so that pertains to the land, according to the LiDAR from Drainage Ditch 7, or the survey that was done probably in 1905. How many acres drain west?
I can get you an exact.
Well, I think we already have this, for the most part, in front of us.
Yes.
Now there's a drainage
20,
district
30 acres.
that drains to the east.
Yes.
So, look, that, even with how code is written, says natural flow of the water is obviously to the east, because there's a drainage district there.
For the majority of the land, yes.
Yes.
But there is some of it that does drain west.
Very little bit.
And according to your road maps from whenever, 65, there's two 6-inch lines.
There's two 6-inch lines in the vicinity of the south one, and 3 in the vicinity of his house for the north one. I mean, just putting an X on a map doesn't really tell me where he's wanting to cross.
Okay.
No, all he says is one area north and one area south.
And the one
The one is-
actually looks something close to the
Yeah,
house.
prior to the intersection, and then he wants to add another project in another year for the intersection south.
Okay, and then also a 468-600, this is drainage on land, through land of others, which would be drainage through secondary roads property. It states there that you have to have a starting point, an ending point, elevations, what type of tile, the same stuff we told him the last time. And he has to have that in writing and file it with the auditor with a $1 filing fee before we even start the process.
And this is what he's trying to not do, right?
That's what he does.
This is what he's arguing, correct?
Yeah. And the last time it took a year for him to get the paperwork to the auditor, and he blames it on us that we're dragging our feet. The beginning process of this is for him to file this 468,600, all the information there, bring it to the auditor with a $1 filing fee, then that starts the process.
And he has not done that.
He has not done that yet.
So he does have to have an engineer then?
No,
No, not-
If it's a simple enough project, the board has the option to waive the requirement of an engineer, as long as he's provided
that information.
ample information for you,
How do we know
where
if
you
it's
feel
correct?
comfortable.
What's that?
How do we know if it's correct, what information, I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm just trying to understand, because I don't understand drainage as well. How do we know what he's specifying is correct?
That he wants, they want to file all...
She wants to know, how do we know the information he gives us is correct? Because the project won't work if
Somebody's
he's hired a contractor to do it. He's not out there doing it himself.
Gotcha, that's what I was wanting to know, so it's the contractor that he's hiring is giving us this information then? That's what I wanted to know.
He told me on Saturday that it's Bill Mansky is his contractor.
No, that was some boring
It's the
issue.
board.
We thought McPeak's too boring, do it so much cheaper than what we did the last time.
Well, I know this, what you and I had.
Yeah.
That's all I
I'm
wanted,
gonna tell you right now,
somebody
you
with
can
some kind
forget
of professional
this.
background.
I really think what we need to do is talk with Bruce, have him get the paperwork to the auditor, with the $1 filing fee, so we have something to work with, because we don't even know what he
We're
wants.
chasing ghosts.
Now, when he suggested that the peak trenching can do this work for considerably less than having us hire an engineer.
Well, we don't have to.
We don't have to,
He
yeah.
has to.
Right,
Yeah.
that in the project that was north of there,
Yeah.
they required an engineer report, and he said,
No, we did not.
We waived it.
that was, oh, okay, that's one of the ways.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he wants to do on this project as well, and he said that he could have McPeak Trenching do that. They were talking about
Is he a contractor, or is?
No, I don't think McPeak did, actually, he just threw that out there.
He
That's all.
spoke to him, and McPeak Trenching gave Bruce an estimate on what he would charge him if they were pouring under the road.
Trish, make a copy of
The
468,600.
engineering report wasn't.
And then mail that to Bruce.
Okay.
And state that once this is completed, we'll start the process, because as of right now, we don't know for sure what he wants.
And state it, that this was sent
Yeah.
at that time, so that we have the ability to come back and say, on April 7th, April whatever.
Certified.
Yeah, that's right, we just sent it certified in that way, and certified with signature.
Then we can start the process like we did last time.
Mansky, he'll do it?
What?
I heard Mansky, he was,
Bill, he told me Saturday Bill was his contractor. When I
you know,
ran into him.
it's not a bad idea to do a person's due diligence, because I won't mention on camera, but I will just say it's the landowner in section to the south, 32, and there's something noted on this rough draft map with the X's on it. I think everybody's on the right track here. The landowners have approved a peep out of any project.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, right now, it's just all scratches and hearsay. But we need to have this filed with the auditor so we can progress with it. So we have actual information, rather than
And not
an
dealing
X
with,
on a map. And
that's assuming.
it's just like you done with the last project, you still have to go through the same steps. Because, I mean, we're not gonna spend taxpayer dollars
No.
just for willy-nilly. It has to be done properly, and, I'm not arguing that the county will not pay for it, it just says you have to follow the process. Right. So.
The secondary roads paying portion is step 22. He's got 21 steps before he gets to that point.
And the sooner he gets it done, the sooner we can get through it. We'll do it as rapidly as we possibly can, but we gotta follow proper procedures.
And by sending that request, it puts a date on it that this is when we got started, because we
Yeah.
still haven't been notified of a petition to do it.
Right, yeah. Okay. I think that's clear. Cleared up the mud a little bit.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
All right, back to regular stuff on our agenda, which I think we pretty well nailed everything.
Well, I know we're not, this doesn't need to be officially, what's that?
Darn it, I said, I thought we were getting done.
That's all right. This is just, I want to just, throw this out there, and, we have ongoing finishing up of projects in drainage districts, where we have a lot of clean out. And with those projects, there's a lot of culvert replacement that needs to be done now that the ditches are clean. Concerned with a couple of the contractors, where they, want to get those done as timely as possible, those culverts replaced when needed. Concerned of, that's gonna drag into the summer, there's probably gonna be some crop that the districts do have easements on the top of those ditches.
Yeah.
So, what they can't get done prior to any crop that may end up getting in the way, because farmers elect to farm to the ditch. There's no strip, there's no, really,
Buffer zone or whatever
there's
you call it.
nothing. There should be no need for any crop damage, because they would be able to get down the easement on the top of the ditch to get to the pipe if it needs to do that. Correct.
That's correct.
Because they want to do this very timely, because they know where they need to replace culverts from the project, but they're concerned of possibly running into some crop being out there before they got to it.
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be an issue of them, and it would be very, very minimal, but
Right.
they would have every right to, or we would have every right to tell them to do that, because it's in an easement district.
Yeah. I missed which district was this?
It's probably gonna be
18?
mostly 18,
Yeah, yeah.
mostly DD 18.
Yeah.
Because that's a big district, there's a lot of pipe to be replaced, and they'll probably have a lot of it before any growing crop, but, being realistic, probably not before, won't be able to get it all replaced before. And a lot of these, like Bruce said, do have filter strips,
Yeah.
they try to not get into it, but they don't want to wait till the crop is out to try to finish up any needed replacement. So that's fair that they would have the ability
Yep.
to go down there, right?
Yep.
It's a clarification, so they can finish up their projects.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I have.
Back to Bruce's deal, he does have the option of getting 50% of whatever McPeak's boring cost was without having to file a petition.
Yeah, he can do the option of, taking up to 50%, up to 15,000 of the boring cost.
Right.
And we don't have to go through all this process.
Very good point, Ben.
So if McPeak's quote, bore was 8,000, we would pay four.
And walk away and call it good.
Walk away, we don't ask any questions, it's just...
Get it done much faster that way. But being trustees of the county, that we have to watch out for our taxpayer dollars, so we have to follow the code. We just can't do what we want. We have to follow the code. Keeps you out of trouble when you follow the code.
I was just gonna say, the code's there for a reason.
Yep, it's been there for a lot of years.
Yep.
That's fine.
So,
Yep.
Motion to
All we have to
adjourn.
do is come in, file the
Second.
petition, and we'll...
it's really not even a petition, it's just a...
Something,
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not.
Yeah, it's plans and specifications for his tile project, so we know where,
No,
what
today's
size,
gonna be
what
my
depth,
second. But I've heard the second.
starting point and ending point.
I mean, he
First
probably got
and
it all
first.
this-
Yeah, you know, they got it all.
One, 2 weeks ago.
You just have to
They need to
bring it in.
really, really bad muscle ache,
Obviously engineered it.
but Steve got
Yeah.
sick.
They don't just go out and start tiling across the land.
That's the way if you can't file about it, I'm not...
And I guarantee you, Bill would have all that if he is working with Bill, but that's what he told me Saturday. Well, Mansky's contractors, whatever.
No problem about it.
Got it all penciled
And
out.
she researches a lot of things.
What grade he's gonna run.
And she
Yeah.
researches...
size of
Says all that vaccine is a combination of a bunch of...
All Bruce has to do is just bring it back and load that in, just like we did.
Well, for this flu shot, you get a sample of the flu.
Yeah.
So
And
why
then the
take
hearing will be set
And the only thing,
90 days,
the only thing that would change that is if he had an oversized crossing for the freeway, because
Build your
it's
antibodies in your,
big with,
you know, in your body.
in my
To
opinion.
me, I don't know, this is just my opinion, that
We-
information...
I'd say that that's pretty evident.
Crossing, but he had to upgrade.
He wants a 12 inch.
That's why I'm doing
That's
it.
just it.
I just don't wanna take that risk,
For 20 acres, it's oversized.
but
Then he's got other plans. My opinion.
I've done everything I can to...
Anything else?
I don't have anything else. Anybody else got
Well, you
anything?
said-
I don't know if I wanna ask.
Yeah, you did good, I made the motion.
Dave, you got something down there?
Yeah, he does.
I made the motion to adjourn about 10 minutes ago.
I second.
All right. Sandy, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 10:55.
9:55, 6.